Ike wasn't on the bench. Ike had back surgery this week, and his back has really been bothering him. And so he had to go in there and get it surgically fixed, and everything went well with the surgery. But obviously it's not time to be sitting on the bench. It's time to be resting up. So, we expect a full recovery. So that, and then, obviously Marcus was really under the weather today. And we didn't know if he was going to play. So for him to play 20 minutes, and, he's been very ill for the last 3 days, but he showed a great amount of toughness and courage to play. So, obviously he wasn't, maybe, the great player that you normally see, but there was an obvious reason behind it. And, this break comes at a good time, especially for him and Rousey and Sam, because those three kids carry such a heavy load for us. So we got to get them fresh, and then we got to get better. But tonight was a good win for us. Defensively, it was one of our better defensive games of the season, especially coming off a defensive performance that was not good. This one was good, and I thought it was a total team effort. I thought everybody played outstanding defense, but I thought Shakar and Jamal in particular on their defense on Strauss was really good, because that kid's been one of the best players in our league early in the season. And I thought Andrew had one of his better defensive games, because Eli Kane obviously has been a really good player in this league for a long time, and I thought Andrew really battled him, especially with the size disparity. Any questions?
Did they give you a timeline on Ike's recovery?
Yeah, again, it's I don't know exactly, and he's redshirting, so I mean we're always going to be more conservative with that. I don't like to play doctor, but we were expecting a full recovery.
I know you had pointed words for the defense after the Butler loss. What was the biggest thing that you worked on this week for fixing the defense?
We worked on defense. I thought everything with our defense. The first thing about defense is commitment and care. And I thought our guys showed great commitment and care of wanting to get stops and then executing the game plan, neither of which we did against an outstanding Butler team the game before. Butler's good enough where you can play good defense, they can still score, because Martin and those guys are really good. But our guys were really locked in on the defensive end tonight.
And then how nice is it to get contributions from people like Froling, from Theo, that really make it so you don't necessarily need to have that great performance from Howard or Rousey?
Yeah, I think obviously the story of the game is our defense. The second story of the game, in my mind at least, was our contributions from the bench. Obviously you're going to look at the box score and say 25 points. They must have played great. But I look at their defense and rebounding. I thought Harry's rebounding in the first half really gave us a shot in the arm, allowed us to get some separation. Jamal's defense and rebounding was terrific. And then I thought, the game continues to slow down for Theo. And so to get that type of contribution from the bench is really good. And, like newcomers or freshmen, those young guys are a lot more comfortable at home than they are on the road. I mean, I don't forget they're freshmen. I think sometimes because they played a lot as freshmen, people forget that this is their first rodeo. But those kids are all getting better, and I thought Harry had his best game, and I thought Jamal had his best game in a couple weeks.
To diverge a little bit from what happened tonight, I've noticed a lot of coaches, or a couple of them, both men's and women's, have been doing these mic'd up all-access games.
No.
All right. Moving along then.
Would you want me to do that?
I was just wondering what your thoughts were.
You know what? I mean, I think it's great for people who want to do it. I mean, I'm all for creativity and if things can help the league. And so I think it's great that coaches that want to do that. I mean, more power to them, and I'm sure the viewers enjoy that. I'm just a little more old school, and You know, I don't have such a good vocabulary at times, and so, you know, and again, I don't want anything to take away from my main focus, and that's giving the best effort for the young men that I'm coaching. And I think sometimes when you add those things, it can be a distraction, whether it's intended to or not. So it's not for me. I guess at some point I'll have to do it. You know, hopefully it's not until I'm coaching CYO basketball 22 years down the road.
Coach,
You finally laugh. You never laugh, and you got a chuckle out of you.
let's just move on.
Okay.
I think your vocabulary is great, Coach, by the way. The
Okay.
quotes are always great for the radio. Sam Hauser, great night tonight, especially a good start to get the offense started this evening. Sometimes with all the talk about Howard and Rousey, it seems like he gets kind of lost among your guards, but he really kick-started you tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's a great player. I don't know who's losing him because he's one of the best players in our conference. He's one of the better players in the country. And, you know, again, we have two guards that are explosive, and they can put on, you know, displays that, you know, are jaw-dropping. But from a consistency standpoint, you know, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody more consistent than Sam in our league.
Coach, you mentioned the break coming up. You have 9 days, basically. How big is that, and what are your concerns with that amount of time with not being on the court for a game?
Well, you know, you know, I try to look at everything as a positive. One, we got to get our team healthy and fresh, and it'll allow us to do that. School's going to start back up again, so it'll allow them to get locked back in as students and get into a routine, which is disrupted when you're on break time. And then we have to use it to get better. You know, one of the things when you run the gauntlet of the Big East, it's hard to practice, you know, really long. And it's hard to do all the things that you would like to do because you have to be aware of your guys' legs and fatigue and injury and all those things. I think this break will hopefully be a point where we can get better and we can look at some things we're doing and say, you know, we really like that and we need to continue to do that or fine-tune that and look at some things we're not doing and maybe add. So we'll see. But I think we have to look at it as a positive, and I think we need to use it to get better. When we had a bye week last year, our team got better, and I'm hoping that we'll follow a similar pattern this year.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.